DICE may have just leaked that they are planning a Year 2 upgrade for Battlefield 2042. Reddit users have discovered a recent addition to the Origin client hidden away in the files called Year 2 Upgrade, and this update was actually made to Origin recently on March 17th, so it's definitely not an old file that DICE forgot to delete or something like that, but it's something that they're planning to add in the future. Now obviously this could be massive news considering the current legacy of the game. With one of the worst launches in history and an extremely long road to recovery, many fans of the game feel that they received a substandard experience. And if DICE were to drop support for the game after Season 5, it would likely solidify 2042's place as a title that under-delivered. However, a second year of content could change that narrative. To many gamers, myself included, Battlefield 2042 has become a title that is a lot of fun to play. I've personally convinced a few friends who never bought 2042 at launch to buy it during the recent sale, and they've been enjoying the game a lot. According to them, 2042 is actually a good experience coming into it for the first time, and it does feel like a game that could excel if it's given more support. The player numbers have been really high lately. Due to some Steam sales in the PlayStation Plus edition of the game, many more gamers are trying out for the first time and actually seeming to stick around for a lot longer. Season 4 has been a positive experience, and it finally feels like there's a good variety of loadouts and weapons and ways to approach combat to actually keep the gameplay consistently interesting. And sure, there's some lingering issues such as squad management controls and the front-end menu not always showing the populated game modes, but in general you can hop on and expect to be placed into a decent round of Battlefield, which honestly can't be said for a lot of the legacy games at this point. Now let's dive deeper into what this Year 2 upgrade could actually mean. As much as I wish that it was confirmation that we're getting 4 additional seasons beyond the first 4, it could be interpreted differently. Likely, the Year 2 upgrade could be a version of the game that gives players unlocks to the previous seasonal content and lets them just skip a year's worth of grinding so that they can start out on a much more equal footing in terms of weapon options. This is something that DICE has done in the past, and it makes a lot of sense, allowing players who may have missed the first year of the game to jump in and have fun right away with the new weapons and vehicles. However, it's also possible that this will be linked with an announcement for more content beyond Season 5 and potentially linked with a premium bundle pass for Year 2. Promoting a Year 2 upgrade of the game without a second year's worth of content will certainly be less attractive for most players. Where alternatively, if DICE was to promote a Year 2 upgrade for the game without an actual second year's worth of content, it would just be less attractive of an upgrade in general. I think looking at the situation with more business knowledge and what little behind the scenes info we have, one could make a fairly compelling argument that 4 more seasons of content seems like it's fairly attainable for DICE, especially if we break down what these seasons would likely include. DICE has pretty much wrapped up the specialist editions for the game, so no new classes and crazy gadgets that they have to balance and create synergy with. That's a lot less work for both the development side and the testing side. So if we lump Season 5 into that Year 2 content and say there's going to be 4 new maps total over the course of the year and maybe 15 to 20 new weapons and 3 to 4 new vehicles, 4 new battle passes, and a wide range of cosmetics, which would honestly be the bare minimum in terms of deliverables that I think most would expect, DICE has shown that they're actually able to grow the player base with this seemingly small amount of content. Now, if you follow the Battlefield developers more closely, you may have noticed that many who have been working on Battlefield 2042 have shifted over to the next Battlefield project. And while this could be interpreted as DICE pulling support from Battlefield 2042, this is also not unexpected as the new game is already well underway and they need to bring in new talent to get it built. But it also lines up with the fact that 2042 has mostly dealt with all of its major issues, meaning they need less people to work on the back-end stuff, and deep redesigns are pretty much nearly complete. With a few more quality of life updates coming and the final 2 map reworks, the general workload and maintenance for the game is about to get a lot lighter in many regards. And this means that the manpower needed to put together a second year of content would be drastically less than what it took to upgrade the game during Year 1 while producing seasonal content as well. It might even mean that, especially without the map reworks needing to be worked on, they could start doing more than one map per season after Season 5, putting those map rework efforts into just a brand new map. And perhaps that's wishful thinking, but then again, who knows? With not needing to invent any more new specialists or rework any other maps, that's a lot lighter of a workload, so why not add another map in there? Now, obviously, I don't know what DICE's plans are, but I do know that if I were running DICE, more from the business side of things and not as a fanboy, I'd be creating two development teams that can be more or less interchanged with each other. The support team, which works on maintaining, balancing, and creating new content for the current game, 2042 in this case, and the development team for the upcoming game. And this is pretty similar to what they've done in the past, but they always cut support for the current game well before the next game is ready to release, which has always struck me as very odd. If they keep a maintenance support team going right up until the next game is released, I think we'll get a much healthier community in the long run. And I think the smaller support team could be relatively light in terms of workers, but still accomplish a lot given that they're working on a finished product and just adding content versus constantly hunting for bugs and fixing problems. And as we've seen in the past with Battlefield 1's DLCs, experienced developers and map makers can churn out a lot of content in short periods of time, and I think with 2042, especially considering the first season's worth of maps, the devs have really hit their stride when it comes to understanding the gameplay and how to make maps best suited for 2042's less conventional classes. DICE, for the first time in a while, seems like it's in a good position to capitalize on 2042's recovery. The player base has grown, servers are populated, the seasonal battle passes are working, and I think many new players are getting into the game right now, which means a second year support is a perfect way to keep the franchise relevant and in people's minds as they continue developing the next major title. And it really does seem like a more obvious choice the more I think about it and sort of play out these scenarios in my head, just to continue working on Battlefield 2042. Now, does that year 2 upgrade asset in Origin confirm this info? Unfortunately, no, but considering how recently it was added to Origin, chances are that we are going to find out what it means soon enough. If there is an entire year 2's worth of content planned for this game, then I think we're going to hear about it before Season 5 launches. What do you guys think about this new info? Battlefield 2042 has become a game I'm much more eager to jump into and play just for fun these days, and that's a huge shift from what the game used to be. And there's no question about it, really. DICE put a huge amount of work into 2042, making it into a respectable game, a game that's fun to play to jump into. Why cut support just as the game is kind of hitting its prime and pulling in more players? Seems like it makes a lot more sense to continue making content and letting those players enjoy the experience that you have upgraded. What's your take on Years 2 content for the game? Let me know in the comments. Check out my Season 4 weapon guide next, as Season 4 brought some of the best guns into the game and you should definitely be using them. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.